So who am I? My name is Liliana Cavaliere. I'm a consultant and facilitator for Proctor Gallagher Institute. I was born in Italy and came in the United States when I was 24 with no knowledge of English whatsoever. I studied 4 years of French and wanted to live in France, but somehow things did not come out the way you want it. When you're 24, you don't know how to create things, and I sure did not know. Well, anyway, I came here, and it took 3 trips before I could finally get a legal status of being an alien. I became a legal alien. So it took 3 trips, 3 separate visa, and finally was able to do that. And about 5 months later, I met my husband, which is from the United States, and we got married. So it could have saved a lot of trouble, but it was meant to be that way. So I was a housewife. In 1981, I got tired of being a housewife. I wanted to have my own financial freedom, and I wanted to work for it. And I talked my husband into buying Nino's Family Restaurant, which was mostly at that time in 1981 was a pizzeria sandwich place that opened at 5 in the afternoon until 3 a.m. No liquor license. So I really didn't know much English at that point, and I had 2 young children. I had a 6-month-old Vanessa and a almost 2.5 years old Marco. Today they're much older than that. Well, anyway, so I was fortunate enough to have my children with us at the restaurant. I didn't have babysitters at home. So we set up a room in the basement of the restaurant, and they were with us at all times with the babysitter. But when we were not as busy, we would go down and play with them. So my desire was this is my children. I have 2 grandchildren. I have a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old. This is my daughter, my husband, my son. So I decided that I was going to learn English and I was going to get rich within 3 years owning a restaurant. We were going to be so successful that we would have been rich and happy ever after. So 3 years went by and we didn't get rich. So we said, okay, well, maybe 1 more year and 1 more year, 1 more year, 1 more year. Well, anyway, let's make it short. In the meantime, I learned English, which was my dream, to be able to communicate other than yes, thank you, and I'm well, and I'm fine, and how are you, and things like that. So I pretty much learned English with my children because the first language that they learned was Italian. Reason being that I'm the oldest of 3, and my parents never came to the United States, and my mom and my dad wouldn't have understood my children if I didn't teach them Italian. So I pretty much learned with them. Now, I used to be a heavy smoker, very heavy smoker. I smoked at least 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I should be ashamed to say it because I'm a health freak, but I'm not. It's just that we're growing stages, and there was a stage of me back then. Well, in 1988, after a lot of encouragement from my children, I decided with a group of people from the restaurant to go and get hypnotized. But I pretty much did it mostly to please my children, to show that, yes, look, I'm doing it, but I doubt it is going to work. but I went anyway. That was April 18, 1988. So just think of that, 32 years, right? I haven't had a cigarette since then, and I will never smoke again. And what happened is that I discovered, they say, well, you should quit drinking coffee or drinking beer because it's going to make you want a cigarette. I didn't do any of that. I figured I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up just cigarettes. So to my surprise, it worked. But what happened is it triggered a desire in me to study the mind and try to figure it out what did it? What happened? I mean, I could do it. I couldn't do it if I wanted to. What made me, what did it for me? So I got into a lot of self-help books, self-improvement, self-help books. And one of the reasons now that I learned English language was because I love to read, was the love of reading, a dictionary, a big huge dictionary. I still have it at the restaurant, and the desire to learn. So I was inputting words in my mind, which at that time I really didn't know how it really worked. I learned as it goes. I learned over the years. So that was 1988. I started getting into Earl Nightingale, um, Bob Goldman, the monk, Deepak Chopra, um, the Silva method, a lot of Jose Silva, a lot of that kind of stuff. That was my unwinding time. And the more I learned and the more I wanted to learn. Well, 1993, I had an issue with my body. I mean, back then we were the only ones cooking in a restaurant that went from sitting at 90 pizzeria slash sandwich into a full fine dining 206 seating over the years. Of course, didn't happen overnight. We got a liquor license, a different clientele, different menu. That was a creation created in my mind. All along, kind of wanting to build the idea that I had, that I picture my husband's mind. We should do this, we should do that. Behind every successful man, there is a pushy woman. That's me. So in 1993, I had this, was stress, mostly stress. But I got up on a Friday morning and I could not move my neck. And it was like, you move sideways. And I managed to work, but it was in the paper. This woman in a nearby town was doing yoga, was teaching yoga classes. And they had a picture in the local newspaper of this woman hanging two ropes upside down from the ceiling. So I figured that's it. That will work on my neck. That will really fix the problem. So that Monday I inquire and sign up for a class, which was at local Y. Well, 93. Zenith was the most, what I should say, we click in many ways. A lot of the philosophy she was teaching fit into my wanting to learn about the mind, wanted to learn about me, what made me do this, what made me do that. And to this day, we share a lot of articles, a lot of books, she just told me the other day, hey, go buy this book. This is what you need. And I'm waiting for it any time now. Well, anyway, so fast forwarded a little bit, and I decided to go into Proctor Gallagher consulting program, which I was signing up for a lot of their programs. But one day, we put the restaurant up for sale, was not selling because we wanted cash. So I signed up for one of his programs, the Goal Achieving Program. And I wrote down 6 goals that I wanted to achieve. And number 1 being, I want to sell the restaurant. Well, 9 days later, the buyer appeared, and 2 months ago in February 11th, we signed We sold the restaurant after 39 years, a very successful business, very well known, number one in the area for Italian dining, and number nine out of 300 and some in Michigan. So big accomplishment. And now here I am into a new career with a desire to help people, to teach people on how to use their mind to achieve their goals. And and now I want to show you how everything originates in the mind, and your thoughts do create. So you have to make sure that your thoughts are the right thoughts. So the mental image of yourself is what creates who you are and what you are. So it's the mental image that you have of yourself. It's not how people see you. It's how you see you that shapes you, that shapes your world. There's a big difference there. So you must begin to think that you're the one who created this. You created your life. You created who you are. You know, I'm not sure how old you are, but you start out with a little bit of baggage. We all have something in us that is part of the DNA. You know, we have some, it is proven that the baby, before the baby is born, can hear and is being affected by music, by the mother's mood, by the voices around an environment. So before the baby's even born, there is an awareness of what's going on. So now you got to start thinking that what we're talking about now here is one life. As far as I know, we only live one life. Yes, you will live forever, but not here. Or if you are, it's going to be in a different dimension, a different vibration, a different frequency. So it's all about lifestyle. No, it's one life and it's your lifestyle. And times like now is really what is making you realize that. So it's about how we spend our days, each and every day. You know, are we doing what we want to do, or are we living someone else's life? What are we doing? And again, you got to remember that this one life, it's all dependent on how we see ourselves and our self-image. You know, what do we think of us? Because now that we're adults, I'm assuming that everybody watching this video right now, they're adults. But whatever age you are, a lot of people nowadays, they still blame their parents, they blame the environment, they blame this, they blame that for who they are. But it's time to take responsibility and say, well, that was me then, like me. That was me then, was the Liliana that did not know the language. And then it was me then, the Liliana that had a business and a full-time business, 75 hours a week that I worked, and a full-time mother with children in school with perfect attendance. That was me then. And then there was me that smoked, and there was me. So it's time to grow with our life and realize that as adults, now we're responsible to give what we want. And everyone wants, number one, wants freedom. But not freedom in a sense, yeah, nowadays we want freedom of being able to go out, so being able to go back to the life that we had. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. So we want freedom of time and money freedom. We want to be able to do what we want to do when we want to do it, and we want to be able to afford. I mean, we're not looking for $1 million, and we're not looking for who knows what. We just want to be able to do the things that we want to do when we want to do it. That's what the freedom. So 3 essential questions arise from this. One is, how does the self-image impact my life? How it has impacted my life, and now it's impacting my life, because now we're adults, so we can't blame other people. It's us. You know, how did it affect my life? How is it affecting their life? Oops, what's this? Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. How does the self-image impact my life? How is the self-image formed? That's something wrong here. And now, most importantly, how is the self-image change? Because yes, you can change it. You can change it, just like actors, well, they get into the role, the good person role, the bad person role. And once you get into the bad person role and you get into that attire, you have to do the mental, the physical, and so on. They're not going to call you for a happy ending movie. It's pretty much most of the time going to be the mean person. So to understand that, we need to think about the mind. So when I say think about the mind, because we'll think in pictures. So when I say think about the mind, what comes to mind? This walnut shape kind of a thing? Yeah, really, we don't have a picture of the mind. So that's not what the mind is. So you have to understand, and you can take notes because there's going to be a lot to understand. Just follow me, take notes, and then I'm going to go over some things. So you have to remember you are a mess of energy and you function on frequencies. So I don't know, in 1930, I think it was, Kirlian photography was developed, where they actually took pictures of the aura and the frequencies, the light emanating from human bodies, which was a huge, discovery. Because they don't seem to think of that, but yes, we operate on frequencies. So Einstein said that energy is everything, and that's all there is to it. That's it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. And this is not philosophy. This is physics. Just like a cell phone. Where will we be without a cell phone nowadays? No place. And what's even more amazing is to understand about the frequencies is that if you call me, I'm going to answer. My mom in Italy is not going to answer. If you call my mom, I'm not going to answer. So we are operating on frequencies, just like the radio or TV. If you put on the CNN channel, Fox News is not going to play. It doesn't work that way. If you want rock and roll, you're not going to get country music. You know exactly what frequency you want to tune into, and that's it. So if you keep that in consideration, you start seeing where I'm getting at, and you start seeing that most people do not really think of that, but that's how it works. Believe it or not, this is it. And was a big discovery for me, huge discovery for me, to find out what made me quit smoking. It's not the being hypnotized, it's the mind, how you reach certain spots of the mind. So Nikola Tesla, I watched this movie a couple of weeks ago in Italian, but I highly recommend it. Or read a biography, one of his biography. Okay, so he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Now look at that. Einstein said that, and Nikola Tesla said that. So let's look at your mind again and the paradigm, so you can understand it better. Because since we think in pictures, when I show you the pictures together to go with the words, they're going to stick in your mind better. And knowledge is most of the battle. Once you know something, you can face it. So let's look at your mind and your paradigm. In 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet was a holistic doctor. And he stated that the mind is an activity, it's not a thing. No one has ever seen the mind. And in order to gain clarity and eliminate confusion, I will create an image we can work with. Now, the mind is not a thing. That's an important statement right there. Mind is not a thing. No, there is, mine is not your fingernails. Mine is in your fingernails. Mine is in everything in you, but it's not a thing. And it's not confined to your head. So this is Thurman Fleet, and this is the drawing that he came up with. He designed a circle and divided it in half. And the small part is the body. So we will, we emphasize too much the body. We emphasize the wrong thing all the time. So he said the top part is the conscious mind, and the bottom part is the subconscious mind. And this is the human body. So let's look at your mind and your paradigm. Knowing that, no? So the top part is the conscious mind, the bottom part is the subconscious mind. Now, this is one of the most valuable ideas I ever learned since Bob Proctor, and so do I. And I hope it's one of yours too. Because once I start telling you how it works, and then it's like a light bulb's going to go on in you, just like it did with me way back then. So we have the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. So think of that picture. You do not know what a mind looks like. This is your first step. So the conscious mind is the thinking mind. Now, when people say, I'm thinking with my left brain, this is it, the conscious mind. The conscious mind thinks, it's the educated mind, and as intellect. And the thinking and the subconscious mind is the emotional mind. It's the part that's where all the emotions are stored. And it cannot think and does not have any logic, doesn't need to have logic, believes everything you tell it to. So the conscious mind is thinking, and it's educated as intellect, and you can choose to believe it or not, and accepts or rejects. With the conscious mind, you can accept an idea, you can reject an idea, and you can choose an idea. Now, this is where you choose your thoughts. So, but the subconscious mind has no ability whatsoever to do that. And the ideas also originate in the conscious mind. So the idea originates there. You can accept or reject it. You can choose it. If you don't like it, go to the next one, turn the page. You can use the intellectual part. You can ask. You can apply all the education you have. You can apply it there, and you also have the thinking mind, all stored in that conscious mind. The emotional mind just stays there. But that's 95% of you. The top part is a small percentage, 5%. So that's a big thing. And once you stick that in your mind, it's going to be easy to understand. So you have to think that we let the top part, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, always wide open. And especially in moments like this, we don't want to think. It's too much stress. So we let the radio put the stuff in, other people dump things in, TV, news, and papers dump things in. Whatever you hear, it goes in. It goes in directly into the subconscious mind. And many times it causes anxiety because it creates, makes us fearful. And we tend to suppress fear. We don't want to deal with that. So we suppress it. And when you suppress it, you become anxious. You develop anxiety. And when some people go on drugs for that, but some people suppress anxiety. And when they suppress anxiety, it becomes depression. And then most of the time needs to be treated with drugs because people don't understand the originating part was that the fear, which caused the anxiety, and the anxiety causing uh, suppressed, causing the depression. So this is what's happening right now. So we cannot blame the parents, we cannot blame our educators or our friends anymore. We let that bowl wide open, everything goes in and goes directly into the emotional mind, the subconscious mind, where it encounters paradigms. So where are paradigms? You know, so we don't keep that close. We just let it in because we're so relaxed after being tired, working all day long, or whatever it is. So you today, I just explained it to you. You as an infant, this is infants are that way all the time because they cannot pick and choose the thoughts. They don't know what's black or white. You're teaching it, so everything goes right in. It's an infant. That's why that's why we look so much like our parents because we tend to imitate what we see around us. So, in the absence, once we have that picture, and now the mind works. So, in the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until we ultimately became enslaved by it, says Robert Heinlein. What does it mean? It means that if we don't really know who we are, if we don't have clearly defined goals, we are going to go with the wind. We're not going to have an identity and the goal in life. I mean, you're not born with that. You know, you're acquiring it, and you change with that. That's part of growing. It's part of growing spiritually, mentally, environmentally. So little bit at a time. So if you don't know where you're going, you will never get there, right? It's the same thing with us. Who we are. You have to set your life back into learning, um, discover who you are. So you got to have that defined goal if you don't want to blame somebody else for what you done. So we have you today open, just like the an infant is wide open. So when you fall asleep in front of TV, that's what's happening. It's all going in because there's nothing saying no, don't go in. It's going directly in your programming part, and it finds the paradigm. So this is the baby. Baby does not how to talk, does not how to walk, does not know anything that it will learn in the next few years. So until the age of, they say 6 or 7, it's pretty much like an open ball. You know, we cover the baby because we're cold, the mom. Baby doesn't tell you it's cold, and we uncover the baby because we're hot. Baby doesn't tell you it's hot, and we feed it the food that we like, and if we don't like water, we're going to give it juice. It's pretty much we're dumping in what we like. So that's what a paradigm is. Paradigms are those things that we're dumping in. There's no choice but accepting it. So everything that's happening in the baby's environment is going directly into the baby's subconscious mind. And we become a product of our environment. Hey, look, I'm so good. I'm doing what you told me. Hey, I'm riding, it's like riding a bike. Well, it takes a little bit long, but once you learn, right? So we become a product of the environment. Well, it goes in and forms the self-image. But whose self-image is that? Have you thought about it? It's not the baby's self-image. It's not the teenager's self-image. It's the parents' self-image. It's the educator's self-image. Is part of the babysitter. So you have a part of the babysitter. You're part of your mom, part of your dad, part of your DNA, part of your teachers. What do you watch on TV? What do you listen on your iPad and the games you watch? And so this is all the stuff that's going in, but you haven't really found you who you really are, your real self-image. And in the encounters, before the self-image encounters a paradigm. So what is a paradigm? Again, it's all programs that everybody dump in. And we update the cell phones, we update the software on the cell phone, we update software on the computer, We update the cars because the new models keep on coming up. We update our wardrobe because the decided that they got to make more money, so they got to design more models. But strangely, we don't update what's the most important thing, which is our subconscious mind, our programs. So, as an example, paradigm. So, cross your hands any which way you want it. So, just like this. I want to make a little simple thing. So, see what's on top. Left hand. In my case, is the left hand. My left hand. Okay. So now invert it. How does it feel? Close your hands. How does it feel? Does it feel odd? Does it feel out of place? You know, like Zena used to say, brush your teeth. If you always brush your teeth with the right hand, start doing it for a week with your left hand. And I'm sure you read that or heard that somewhere. Why? Because we rewire parts of the mind, the brain that need to be rewired in different ways. That's why people who have strokes, they eventually regain mobility if they with the proper training because they reform those subways. So we need to update the paradigms. We need to create new path. Because we don't create the new path, you cannot obtain different results, keep on doing the same mistakes. It doesn't work that way. So the paradigms are the negative beliefs, limiting beliefs. So when people say, you know, it's all hard. You New Year's Eve comes and I want to do this, I want to do that, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and then a month later, that's hard, you know. And what are the people going to think of me if I do this? Well, they're going to think I'm crazy. What do I need to do this for? You know, we know what needs to be done, but we're not doing it because we have those paradigms in us. You know, boys start to shouldn't cry, and girls are to be seen but not heard, and money don't grow on trees, and Easter Bunny is gonna bring you this, and these are all paradigms. It's time to update it. You're not a child anymore. You gotta start thinking with your mind. You can't keep on having other people's ideas in you because that's what shaped you. That's what give you that image. You are who you are. You know, it's like me. I was that person that did not speak English. I was that person who smoked too much. I was the person who always asked her husband for money. Well, I realized I had to update my paradigms, and I did it. It took time, and I'm still dealing with paradigms because that's where I go. And I think that once you learn it all, will be time to say goodbye and go on to another dimension. So we all want to evolve and learn to deal with the adversity, but always have in mind the idea of where we're going with our self-image, with our goals, and everything else. So as in business, you know, which I discovered, I didn't have any business. I didn't take any business classes. I had no experience in business. I didn't even knew the language, right? And to cook because I like food. I always did like food. But when you picture that drawing from Thurman Fleet, you understand this better. The success is 95% mindset and 5% strategy. What does it mean? Success is that 95% of that bottom part, the subconscious bowl, and only 5% of strategy. So once you know how it works, and once you know how to deal with that and how to program it by taking away the paradigms you don't need, and then you start realizing that that 5% strategy, the 95% is stronger than the 5%. So the subconscious reasoning part can go. Okay. So when you put that in perspective, you can be who you want when you want it, now you want it, because that's you. And that will also solve people with low self-esteem. because they don't really know who they are. So if they don't know who they are and they're still stuck in what people programming them, how they're going to feel good about themselves. So look at the areas of your life that a paradigm is control for over. You know, it affects your beliefs, your habits, your perception, the way you use your time, your self-image, creativity, productivity, logic, effectiveness, and money. You know, because your self-image also affects the money you make, the money you earn. If you can go in business or not go in business, it's all under the category of paradigms. And don't have anybody tell you anything different. This is it. So going back to the drawing, because again, we're taking pictures, I wanted to make sure when I chose carefully my slides that I want to stick in your head. So the conscious mind, that 5% responds with the five senses, which that's what everybody taught us. You know, their parents, the teachers, everybody. This is the first thing you learn. You learn to see, you learn to hear, you learn to smell, you learn to taste food and touch. That's what the baby learns when it comes. And then we dump everything else in without giving a choice. This is it. This is what we do. We go to bed now, we go to bed then. But unfortunately, nobody teaches us that there is 6 faculties stuck in here. They're being covered by the paradigms that everybody dumps in. So the 6 senses are the perception, the will, the imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. And people say, oh, I have a bad memory. Oh, I have no perception. We are so numbed out by everything going around us. You know, the people, the environment, our friends, programs on TV where we submerge these things because we emphasize these things because these things sell. They sell. Advertisers know that, and the world knows that. You know, bad words. Yes, what is that? The stick like stone and bad words, whatever it is. That's another paradigm. Those are all paradigms that we're dealing with. That we don't even realize that they're there, but we realize they're there when we feel limited into achieving what we want to achieve because we are under the spell of this. And these are all, they're muscles. They're like muscles. The will is a muscle. Imagination, you can develop that. You can develop all of them. Reason, when you think, you can reason. You can reason your way out of something. You can memorize things. There's people that memorize the whole book. Learning a language, it's all about memory. You know, I can memorize an order without writing it down at the restaurant when I was taking orders out POW. And yes, you can do it. I'm not any better than anybody else. It takes practice, but it can be done. You can do it, by the way. So in review, school gives us valuable knowledge. However, school never taught us how to alter our old programming, the paradigms. Why? Because it's none of their business. And nowadays we expect the teachers to be the parent, to be the mentor. I mean, it's not what it used to be. The parents are so busy working, and we don't even have the time to think for ourselves how we're going to think and teach our kids. So again, we have this open ball. We send the kids to school, and they learn a lot of stuff. Therefore, we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. Why? Because they didn't teach us how to speak in public. They didn't teach us how to run a business. I'm talking about the basic school. They didn't teach us how to communicate if somebody from Italy comes. They didn't teach us all those things because there's a basic curriculum that they have to teach, and this is what we need to learn. So we get all this knowledge. We get superior knowledge with inferior results because let's admit it, there's a lot of self issues in children nowadays. It's like they don't know who they are. Why go to school if you have this so and so is making billions of dollars playing a game? I mean, we're given wrong value, but that's a different deal. But you can see now where the self-image comes in. Okay, and now we let that happen. Now we let the designer clothes dictate how our son or our daughter wants to live by being someone else instead of looking for who he is or who he wants to be. So all the superior knowledge and inferior results causes confusion and frustration. It sure does. They don't know who they are. They know who they want to be, and every week might be a different person. So all this education, all this knowledge, where does it go? On that top part. The top part, they learn that, they memorize it, they pass school, um, they get degrees, they get their master, they get whatever, but they're not sink in. Most of it did not reach that bottom part. So in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a lot of that knowledge is gone. This is not, especially if you only just graduated, if you didn't go to college. It doesn't sink in. So what happens is affects the results of their life. So the results are affecting the paradigms in the negative way. They add to it. So they say, no, I don't want to do this because I screwed up one time, so I don't want to do it again. So it's affecting the results. It's not, we don't realize that it took so many times for the first person to climb on Everest. You have to fail so many times, and when you finally reach the top, they give up long before they even think about it, because they put paradigms on top of paradigms, the wrong results. So paradigm is a mental program that is almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost of our behavior is habitual. What do you do in the first thing in the morning? The same thing over and over, right? You get up, you do this, and you do that, and you do this. What is your husband or your wife or your mom, or if you live with someone else, what do they do? The first half an hour, 45 minutes, everyone is the routine. Do not touch that. Do not mess with me until I'm done with my coffee. Do not mess with me until I do this. Try to do something different every single day. And you discover to be a different person every single day. No? Because you start breaking down the paradigms. You start shaking everything up, inside out, backwards. So cybernetic and paradigms. Cybernetic and paradigms are both control systems and operate essentially on the same principle. Now, you got to remember we're frequencies and vibrations in the top part and the bottom part. That's why I say take notes. So both maintain a definite course of action and will not deviate from the course that has been established. You must alter the paradigm if you desire to achieve improved results. And both companies and the individuals have operating paradigms. Each person in a business contributes their own paradigms into a business. And we all have our own. I mean, I'm bringing my own 2 cents in. My husband is bringing his own 2 cents in. Each worker brings his own 2 cents in. And you have to find a common ground to make sure that my program doesn't interfere with their program, and so on and so on and so on. So we have set thermostats, which are cybernetic. It's a cybernetic instrument. So we have a set point, just like the thermostat at home. We keep it at 70 in the wintertime. At the restaurant, let's say the sample at the restaurant, because I lived there more than half of my life. Right. Exactly half of my life. So we set it at 70. So the customers are coming in and the door opens and opens and opens, and it goes down to 65. So what happens? The thermostat sends the signal, 65. The 65 sends the signal to the thermostat, kicks the fan on, and starts warming up to reach again the 70 degrees. Well, this all happens automatically. It's like an airplane. The automatic pilot in a commercial plane is a cybernetic instrument, just like a thermostat. So you set a flight pattern is programmed into the plane's computer system. And when the plane goes off course, the cybernetic system measures the deviation from the set goal and corrects the flight pattern without human intervention. I mean, the pilot's there, but you know, let's say you have a plane going from Chicago to Paris, I think. Yep. And then the wind blows it off course. And there's the second plane that leaves the flight pattern, and the cybernetic mechanism puts it right back in. The automatic pilot puts it right back in. People don't even notice that they're sitting down, and the plane goes back on course, just like the thermostat at home. Now we have set points just like that. Our set point creates who we are. This is it. This is what keeps us from progressing, keeps us way back where we always are, in the same paradigm. So we have a self-image in there, submerged by the paradigms that affects the body and our actions and controls our results. How is that? It's Thurman Fleet figured it out that you cannot cure disease by taking care of the symptoms. You cure disease by curing disease, finding the cause and cure the disease. You're not handling, managing the symptoms, because you manage one symptom, you're going to create another symptom, and you're going to drug up that person forever and ever. So he said, since all disease originates in the mind, in the conscious mind, and impacts the subconscious, like the fear and the anxiety, and we suppress it, and we become depressed. So you have a choice. You can take a drug, or you can find out what caused that, whatever it is, what caused the pain in the neck, what caused that pain in your leg, because the root of all disease, it's in the mind. Everything starts there. We allow it there, and it takes root and creates our results. So your self-image is a cybernetic instrument, and it affects your self-image. It affects everything, affects your body. Sorry. So let's say you decide to go on a diet. New Year's Eve, one of the things I want to go on a diet. I'm going to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 50 pounds, you know. It's like you're telling yourself, hey, I'm overweight. I need to go on a diet. So you go and sign up for one of the programs, and you start not eating sugar, not eating chocolate, not eating flour, not eating, no carbs, no this, no that. I mean, you really, really have to work at it. And most of the time, it's all temporary. If not every time, it's temporary. So a decision is made to diet because you're overweight. And when a person is overweight, when a person goes on a diet without altering the self-image, any weight loss will be temporary. Why? Because you have that set point. You have that thermostat in there. The self-image, being a cybernetic instrument, measures the deviation from the set goal and immediately corrects the course. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, you lost, but it's enough. It lasted for the wedding. It lasted for the graduation. Now it's time to go back to it. You know, the weight lost is found. You know? And that happens 99% of the time. Why? Because we didn't change that self-image. We didn't change that child's self-image. We keep on fitting up the baby. Oh my gosh, look how healthy he is. He's, especially in Italy. You know, that's our cultural paradigms. The fatter you are, the healthier you are. My grandma used to say your skin shines when it's stretched out to the max. That means you're healthy. And I used to believe her. You know, it doesn't work that way. But that's what you believe. It was a paradigm and affects the results. So when a person receives bad grade, a child receives poor grades in school, it's an expression of the self-image they hold. The person believes they're not very bright. And they, of course, receive a report card that reflects their poor self-image. You know, so the parent makes the child give up to recreational activities and study, and the grades improve. But it's temporary because the child doesn't know how to change their self-image. She thinks it's not as bright as the its best friend or the other child. So it's to go with changing the self-image. If you don't change the self-image in that child, it's it's a loss of time. You know, this is a time where you need to start working on their self-image and get rid of this. I mean, build a better self-esteem. So keep reviewing. We see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we touch. And that, of course, we eat, all based on that. Well, we eat with our eyes. We smell the food being cooked. We smell it, we taste it, we touch it. My gosh, I love food, and I had a restaurant for 39 years. So everything is going in the paradigm, and then it's changing the vibration. So the vibration of being fat, you know. In my mind, I'm in the vibration. I'm overweight. Matter of fact, I can't wait for New Year's Eve because I'm going to make my resolution. This is it. This is the year I'm going to lose 20 pounds. So I'm in that vibration, and, you know, I'm going to succeed. How long? You know, how long is it going to last? January, February, how long is it going to last? So you build yourself the new image of you. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do that. You're gonna do this. You're gonna go on that trip. You're gonna fit in that two-piece bathing suit. You're gonna go to that wedding. So you build that beautiful new image, but you did not deal with the paradigm. If you don't know how to update that program, if you didn't change that paradigm, you're always gonna be in this vibration. The mentality of the overweight person, the mentality of the bad grade, the poor grades. So until you impress the beautiful new image in the subconscious mind and create a self-image, you're not going to change the vibration. You're always going to be stuck on that frequency, the frequency of the overweight person. Yeah. So it's time to change. You realize, I hope that this is it. You understand that it's time to change in the right way. And the only way you can change the right way is by changing, first of all, identify paradigms and start changing your paradigms. And by changing, working at changing the paradigms, and it's not easy, but it can be done. And there's only two ways that you can change paradigms. One is the emotional level, like the 9/11. You know, that was 9/11, the death of a spouse, the death of somebody important, uh, the time being right now with the virus and people losing jobs. Those are emotional impacts. That's makes it forces us to change our habits, and that's why everybody's so out of place right now, because we're not used to dealing with giving up our habits. We have been doing the same things over and over. We've been working on autopilots. We've been living on autopilots. We've been thinking on autopilots. And now we feel inside out and upside down and backwards, and we didn't even go to yoga class. We're not used to that. This is stressful. And unfortunately, a lot of people are not, don't know how to deal with that. So they're in that vibration of shaking up their paradigm. Now, the other way that we can change the paradigm is by repetition of the behavior that we wanna acquire. So we have to build a new idea. And then by building a new idea, who we want to be and what we want to become, and so on, we need to be grateful for the idea that is use me, because you have to create the idea, you have to create that person, and then let that person and that idea create the new you. Now you have to remember that you, how others see you is not important, because how others see you is not dealing with your paradigm. How you see you in yourself means everything. Because it doesn't matter if I tell you you're beautiful, if you think you're ugly. It doesn't matter if I tell you you're shaped like I don't know, like a movie star. If you don't believe it, it's not going to affect you. And that's the sad part. But that's what you have to realize. So this is you. You know, you might be like this and look at you like this, or you might be like this and look at you and think of this, because it's the self-image that it's inside of you is what determines how much money you make in life, the relationship you you have. That's why we keep on repeating the same mistakes. That's why we keep on repeating the same issues, the same problems. And so it's really important to find out what's keeping you from being who you are, you know, and keep in mind that with each setting sun, you become one day older, and then one less day in which to attain what you desire. And what you desire can be, like I'm telling myself, and people say, my gosh, I think you look good for 50, 55. And I tell them, no, I tell everybody I'm 45. It's a mindset. It's my paradigm. It's my mentality. I build my self-image the way I want it, and I adapt and I change it. As a wife, as a mother, as a business owner, as a as a consultant. I mean, I apply each and every day the tools that I've been studying for all these years. I've been applying in my life. I've been creating things. The people that know me, they know. I've been creating things with an idea, because there's only two things that we can change. One is our thoughts, and the other one is our attitude. If you have a bad thoughts and if you have a bad attitude, you're not gonna succeed in life. Doesn't matter what anybody told you or what you believe. Those are the two things that only you have control over, and it's the only thing you can control. You cannot control time. You cannot control anything other than now. And so I'm giving out a free coaching call, half an hour call, to find out where you at and help you find out what's keeping you from being who you want to be. Because we can find out, it's easy to find out what's there, what do you want. It's the hardest part is to find out what's been keeping you there, what's anchoring you, what puts year after year, what do you put on the list year after year that's keeping you from proceeding and upgrading your program? What's holding you back? And this is what I do. And then I'll teach you how to get over, how to change and update your program. So thank you for listening to me. I'm going to have another seminar next week. Please give me some feedback. Let me know what you think of that. If you, in review, if you learned something, I hope you did. This was a big eye opener for me back in the late 80s, early 90s. It was like, oh my gosh, this is how the world works. This is what's gonna put me from year to year. No, your imagination, A to B. Your imagination can go anywhere you want if you know how to use it the proper way. So thank you for coming. Go ahead and scan it and book your free, point the camera, your cell phone on that. And if you're not good at that, this is my email. Change it, connect it to my calendar, and or send me a message. And thank you for coming. I hope I didn't bore anyone. Grazie, buonasera. Ciao.